Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to talk football with everyone here that be viewing. My name is Brent Monson. I'm the defense coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, also the linebacker coach as of recently. Again, one quote I really like when talking about football and my football life is the greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. The reason I like this quote is a lot of people will tell you throughout your career that you cannot accomplish something, and that's one thing that's driven me since I was in coaching high school football in Hamilton, is that a lot of friends and people I knew just said I would never be able to accomplish anything in coaching football, coach pro, coach college, all that stuff, and I never really gave up. So it was something that was important to me because I was able to be part of a winning organization for a long time and was able to obtain 2 Grey Cup rings throughout that process. So I still live by this. Every game, every week, every off season, trying to do things that people say I cannot do. That's just what I live by. All right, tonight we're going to talk about general keys to defensive success. Okay, to me these are all important. Not one is more important than the other. They are all very important in creating a successful defense. Okay, first thing, number one. Always number one. A lot of coaches I've worked under agree with this comment: unmatched effort. Okay. Running to the ball. Everyone on the same page running to the ball. It has to be automatic or you will not make plays. That is one key to success. Tackling consistency. You'll never be a good defense unless you're one of the best tackling defenses. Just what it is. So you need to work it, you need to rep it, you need to focus on it, you need to watch film, you need to do everything you can to make your players better tacklers. Create turnovers. You must work the skills. You must focus on the craft. You must master the craft. You must rep it. Okay, it's got to be a lot of reps or no player will ever automatically do it when running to the ball. We talk about preparation. To me, I separate preparation into 3 different things, and we'll get in more detail later on in the presentation, but great preparation is situational. Situational meaning when, where, on the field, why are you calling certain things, what time of the game is it? Okay, there's a couple games I've lost in my career where just because my players weren't prepared enough with the situation that they were in on the field, okay? Whether it be down a distance, whether it be a minute left in the half, whether it be 2 minutes left in the game, they're all important, and you have to rep them, and you have to show film, and you have to explain to them and rep the situations at practice. Okay, it's one thing that I feel a lot of teams and coaches do not focus enough on situational football. Everything in the practice situation should always be down a distance, time of the game, and you got to make sure your players know the situation so they're not just playing the call to play the call. Every call is different in a different situation. Okay. Self-scout. Everyone's got to know their calls. Okay, what is the blitz? What is the coverage? What is the front? Obviously, you need to know that through great preparation, and you need to know how they change based on formation, based off situation. Okay, so that's self. And then opponent. You must know your opponent. What are the other teams going to do based on formation, based on situation, based on all those things? All right. These things need to be accomplished in meetings and a ton of walkthrough. I am a big fan of walkthroughs in coaching defense, and it's just important. Okay. And as a staff, you must be a cohesive unit and have a good structure where you have tons of planning so this stuff just happens naturally throughout the week. All right. The last thing for me, success to great defenses, is limit penalties and limit big plays. Do not give up free money. Do not give up free yards because of lack of discipline or coverage errors. One comment that one of the coordinators I've worked under before is always keep the top on the defense. That is something I still live by, and I think it is very important. With not giving up free yards to penalties and keeping the top on the defense, you will win a lot more games because of your defense and not by putting a ton of points up because of your offense. Okay? Spend time on all of these things. Make it important. Penalties, big plays, all those things. Put yourself in tough situations. Teach them the rules and all that stuff. We'll get into a little more detail later. All All right, let's talk about unmatched effort. All right, run into the ball at all times. Running a pursuit drill at practice at any level of football is always a good idea. It creates muscle memory. When I say pursuit drill, that could just be at the beginning of individual. Get everybody running the ball, and I'll show you an example of just an interception drill I like to do where the box does an up, down, and they run to where the interception point is, and then everyone runs around the coach. Simple drill, but it gets everyone hustling before individual, and I do like it. Okay, the other way to do it is make sure you have coaches that are effort coaches at practice. Any skelly, any team, anything. It's 5 hard steps to the football and direction of football. Make it automatic, all right? Another thing is create competition to aid effort on a daily basis. We used to do an effort belt in training camp. I'd have a belt that we handed out every day. We'd watch a film, we evaluate who's got the best effort. That season, 2019, Nate Hawley, our Will linebacker, had the effort belt almost every single day, and he won Rookie of the Year. So it goes to show the effort you put in will be rewarded if you put in enough effort. The other coaches I've worked under is daily T-shirt for the best effort. Different T-shirts we give away. We'd call out poor effort, and some coaches that I've worked with have given some great ideas. As we call bad effort plays loafs. So we'll bring them lunch meat or mayo or something to go with their loaves, and just call them out in the room. Be creative, do what you can to make sure that effort is always there and it is automatic. Here's an example of the drill I was talking about. So one coach will be here throwing the football. Pretty simple. You got one coach on one sideline, one coach on the other. Normally give each group 2 reps. Coach is going to throw the ball one side. The D line's going to do an up down and run from the box as close as they can to the return to whoever is catching the ball, and then they're going to run around coach. That coach right there is now going to be the evaluator if it was good enough rep or not. But if you see, this is our ones, and that's pretty damn good effort. Again, we will do this at least once a week to make sure that everyone's running to the ball. Here's an example of the 2s and 3s. Not as good of a rep, but it's still making them think about it and think about running to the ball. Okay, now we'll go to a team setting. Okay, we have all of our coaches standing at the back. Everyone's looking at their position group. Everyone's going to be yelling, making sure everyone's running to the ball. And this will be evaluated post-practice in meetings. Normally in camp, we get enough time to watch the film before we meet with the players, okay? Simple Sally play. Out to the flat. Take a look at everybody running from the box. This is impressive. You need this in practice for your players to do it on game day. Okay, there's one player here that's not running the ball, 91. I would have got on him that day, maybe gave him some sliced turkey and cheese for his loaves. It's a good example. Take a look at number 3. Take a look at 99, 52, 97. It's important to them. They're getting the ball. That's going to help us on game day. Another example of practice. Little screenplay. Outside screens will never be successful plays against a defense that runs to the ball and has speed. Okay, they just won't. And I'll show you some game situations without throwing to the ball. Now, to me, this rep is not good enough. You take a look. We got a couple back there just jogging. It's not good enough. You need to be better. You need to work it, and you need to watch the film and show them what is good and what is bad effort. Here's an example in the game. We're talking about outside screens, okay? It's a very similar play. Motion of 4x1. It's thrown out there to the flat behind the LOS. Take a look at the effort to the ball. Now that's impressive. Watch 41. That's good defensive effort. You get that, you win a lot of football games. Okay, here's another example from a game. Little RPO quick game here. Caught ball, but look at the hustle from the box. You're going to limit big plays when you get that hustle from the box, everybody running. Now, that's only great. Only a few guys here are solid effort. I would like a better job here, but it's not bad. You will limit big plays. You will be very good on defense if you have unmatched effort all the time. Next thing I want to talk about is tackling consistency. Work as many tackling drills that you can think of on a weekly basis. In training camp, it should be on a daily basis, and watch the film to make corrections. It has to be important. All right, first thing, tackling. The main thing with tackling for me is angles, okay? You need to have good eyes and good angles. You'll also hear me use the term come to balance. If you are inside running out, you need to come to balance to the near hip with your eyes at the near hip to make successful tackles. Okay, we'll get into wrapping up and bringing your hips through and all that stuff in a bit, but this is a great drill, just working with the different speed to stay to the near hip and coming to balance while closing ground. Take a look here. The ball carrier to the left will change his speeds while running down the line, and all the tackler will eye is the low near hip, and he will come to balance, change speed as he needs to, but he will never overrun. He will always stay to the near hip. That would be a D lineman or a linebacker going inside out. Okay. That's a good example right there of coming to balance, keeping his eyes low, staying to the near hip, and playing inside leverage, inside near hip. Another pretty good example there. Now this one is not good because he's already overrun the ball carrier. That's where running back will put his foot in the ground, get north-south, and will not be making solid tackles doing that. That's how you miss in the space. There's another view of it. Now 27 is a pretty fast player here, but that's not bad. Staying near hip, that's one fast DB running. Stays near hip, that's not bad. That's a good rep. I love this drill because of eyes and angles. Being able to come to balance while closing ground, stand to the near hip. It's another good rep. Another good rep. Now, take it a step further. Tackling in space with two players, you must communicate. You must know where your help is. So when we do this drill, we will yell in, out, 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 and make sure that we know where our help is. Okay, so 56 would be a defensive back here, even though this is all the linebackers. 49 will be coming inside out. He'll be saying in, out, 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 out. And they will be vice tackling this, and this is a very good rep. 49's gaining ground, coming to balance, eyes low. 56, eyes outside hip, keeping contained, and we will finish through. You can also add turnover strip drill into this, where 56 could make initial contact and 49 could come punch the ball out. Various drills you can do off this, but the key component for me is the communication. 49 does not know that 56 is going to be there unless he communicates. Okay, you might see him in your peripheral late, but it's not always the case. Another example, same idea. 43 should be saying out, 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 out. 52 in, and they should come to balance while gaining ground from inside out here at 52. 43 is good. Another good rep. Some more examples. Here it is in the game. Simple outside screen, swing screen to the tailback. My bad, this wasn't a swing screen. Here we go. All this is just a check down swing route. We got some quick game routes. But there you see 8 fight into that outside because he does not feel anyone outside of him. 48 is saying in. 8's getting to that outside hip. 48's going to clean it up. And that is not a great finish. I do not like players tackling high around the neck. Okay, so it's a tough situation because 8 made initial contact and the ball carrier's in a lower position when 48 makes contacts. But you understand what I'm talking about here. 8 gets outside, out. 48 in, and everyone else is running the ball. Now, talking about tackling further. One thing about tackling that is a big part of it to me is the finish. So it's club, wrap, hips through, drive for 5, okay? I like working these and the roll, tackling, all that stuff. I like working these on these donuts. So you can see the hips come through and you can actually have them club and drive for 5. It works when you go to the near side of the donut. It does show you can actually look at the hips coming through, wrapping and squeezing, but you don't want your shoulders to turn to create arm tackles. See how it's now turning outside? You want to be able to go strong through it and turn that inside and really work driving upfield. It's one example. 56 was pretty good at it. That's a better rep. Hips through, club, drive for 5. It's going the other way. That's a good rep right there. Explosive, explode through contact. So those were the main things about tackling. Obviously, there's a ton of different drills you can do for the angling. You can be creative with it. But I really do like to focus eyes, angles, and feet coming to balance while gaining ground in your movement stuff without contact, and then separating your contact on the donut. At the pro level, I don't need my guys hitting each other, and that's just how I teach it. Obviously, at the younger levels of football, you can make sure you incorporate it on each other and you can get some more compete out of it. But I feel like slowing it down and teaching the proper technique, eyes, head placement, wrap up, all that stuff, I like doing it on the donut. Take your time. Don't rush through that stuff because it's very important. All right, the next thing is creating turnovers. Work all the skills. Okay, catching an interception, punching out a football, scooping up a fumble, or tapping out of bounds. It's all important because it needs to be muscle memory. It needs to be automatic in a game. So when you're running the ball, you're tired, it's the fourth quarter, you can still create a turnover. Now, these drills are tough to do. I've never liked doing strip drills because I feel like players just take it as a drill off. What I really liked about this is doing 4 players at once. So everyone's getting a lot of reps. It's not just a long line of one player stripping the ball out. So everyone's getting lots of reps. Everyone take a look at this first picture. You want to secure the tackle first. Secure the tackle around the waist or around the shoulder. Club up or over and rip off. You can work both, okay? But it has to be repped a lot or no one will do it in a game. Okay, I would say we do it during a season at least once or twice a week and put it into different drills so we're saving time. Okay, so this is a great way to do it with 4 groups. Spread them out a little bit more. Don't have them so close together so you can actually scoop the ball up, but you need to rep it. Here it is late in the year. Same shit. Couple are going over the top, couple are coming underneath. Do not reach up top. Do never reach up top here. around the waist, round the hip, secure the tackle. Focus on the little things. These are not good reps. Work both arms so they get used to doing it both ways. Do not go with it one way all the time. Here's another drill we do, okay? Just tapping it out of bounds. Fumble comes out, tap that out of bounds. Pretty simple. Pretty simple, but it does take hand-eye coordination to do it. Lost games from not scooping up balls or being able to do this. You need to take advantage of your opportunities to be a successful defense. And then scooping it up. I went all the way back to 2010 for some of these clips that are coming up later. This was last year, 2019, well, I guess 2 years ago now, but just being able to square the ball up, get your hands underneath it, pinkies together. It's a skill. Just like catching the football is a skill, scooping up the football is a skill. And I will never forget 2019, we had an opportunity, 2009, we had an opportunity to win a West Final in Saskatchewan, and we could not scoop up the ball off a dropped punt. We could have won that game based on one play, just scooping up the ball. So it's just a skill that has to be repped over and over and over again. Here's some 2010 film. Got some sound effects here. There you go. Good shortstop stance. Pinkies together. Scoop it up. See it in. And finish.
Right through me. Good. Go.
Same thing. Not as good of a rep here. Hands weren't ready. Okay. You need to have your hands ready. You need to be
Scoop it up
prepared.
right through me. Good. Set, go. Go. Scoop it up right through me. Set, go. Pick it up right through me. Pick it up right through me. Pick it up right through me.
Not a bad example. Again, focusing on all those things on a weekly basis is going to help you win ball games. All right, here we go. Now we're looking at interception convoy. Okay. Be ready to score touchdowns off interceptions. Okay. This is a great clip because this D lineman that catches the football does not run to the sideline where his teammates are blocking for him. He takes it inside, and we will not score touchdowns this way. So this is a bad rep, but it's a good example. Is whenever you teach interception return, you want to create a wall and get to the nearest sideline to win football games by scoring touchdowns. And you can see everyone's getting on. I'm like, what are you doing? All right. That's it for turnovers. There's obviously tons more drills. Be creative with it. Other ones I like is run the hoop, bat the ball out, have a player stand like the quarterback there with the ball out, reach with your outside arm off your pass rush move, and then bat the ball out, scoop it up. There's so many different drills you can do, create a muscle memory of creating turnovers. All right, let's talk about preparation. Now, this is one of the biggest things for me. Obviously, it ties in with effort, ties in with the tackling, consistent, creating turnovers. But if you're not prepared for a game, you're not going to be good on defense. All right, situational. Bottom picture there to the right, we lost a game. If you can look at the score, we were up by 11 points with 1:40 left, and we lost. Okay, we were not prepared for the situation. They were throwing digs behind our linebackers. We were not in good position in our cut and carry when they're taking chunk plays. We're not doing our jobs. Okay, and that's on me and my staff as coaches that I did not prepare our players well enough for that situation in that game. Okay, so I've learned a lot from that situation, and that's something now that I'm going to focus a hell of a lot more on, and just showing them the different situations that can occur in a football game and how you have to play the different situations. So that's preparation to me. Every week in practice, make sure that you focus on the different situations that your players might be in games. Your call is your call. And what the opponent doing is what the opponent is doing. But they need to know when to keep a player in bounds. They need to know when to drive checkdowns and when not to. Those are just some little examples of how to be better on defense. All right. Self. They need to execute their assignments, so you need to rep it. You need to not have too much in. Great preparation cannot be achieved, and great knowledge of your game plan cannot be achieved if you have too much in. So defensive coordinators out there, do not put too much in. If you can barely memorize everything and you got to carry out your sheet to know who blitzes where and what and when, then there's too much shit in. So don't do it. Make your players, have your players, give them the ability to play fast because you don't have too much in. All right. So that's self-preparation. Achieve it through walkthrough, through meetings, through extra time. Put up cut-ups on their iPads. Film your meetings. Do all the stuff you can to make them be able to play fast and have success on the football field. All right, opponents. Okay, the best players I've ever coached knew their opponents inside and out. Some examples: Alex Singleton, John Cornish, those kind of guys. They studied at home a ton about their opponents. Now, formations. What do they do? When do they do it? Down and distance, field zone, tendencies. Okay, that will help them if your players are able to learn it and will study it. Make sure you share that information with them. What do they do in the red zone by this formation or by this personnel grouping? What do they do on second and medium? We'll talk about that a little bit later. What do they do on second and medium out of rebel personnel or 5R, whatever you want to call it? What do they do? Prepare your players for what they're going to do and make sure they have the available cut-ups to watch the stuff themselves and create notes and do all that stuff for themselves, okay? And then re-go through and walk through. Bring the sticks out to walk through. Show them second and medium. Show them formation. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Make sure they see situations. Make sure they know their assignments, and make sure they know their opponents, and you will have a lot more success as a defense. Okay, we talked about this earlier, limiting penalties and big plays. I'll get into it a little bit more, but offsides, take a lap, D-line. PI, DBs, take a lap. Get them out. Get someone else in there. Illegal contact, same thing. Get them out. Get someone else in there. Okay? We do not have time for free yards. Okay? That's one way to make it important. Teach them. Teach them the rules as much as you can. Make cut-ups. Show penalty cut-ups. Why were the penalties called from year to year? Show it in camp. Show it midway through the season. Show it on special weeks where you feel that penalties might be a big factor in the game. Remind them how much field position impacts the Canadian game. It has to be important. All right? And then emphasize keeping the top on the defense. Okay? Remind them before every game, keys to the game, do not give up big plays. Do not bust coverage. Do not take chances when you're a deep player. We cannot bust coverage. Giving up a free 7 is the worst thing you can do as a defense, okay? Because it's too important, and there's too many close games, especially in the CFL, that you cannot give up free money. All right. Scheme. Let's talk some scheme now. All right. To me, scheme, first thing is don't do too much. Do not do too much. Try and stop what they do on first down, second and medium, and second and long. And obviously short yardage situations. Okay. The key for me is front and personnel variety. Have multiple different fronts out of various different personnel groupings and change them on a weekly basis. And you don't have to show them too much. Just make them have to talk about it on the sideline. Make them get out of their groove and make them have to change things that they've repped all week before they play you. Okay? Also, throughout the year, if you give 10 different fronts, 15, 20 different fronts, they're going to have to rep all of them because they never know when you're going to bring them back. Okay? To me, it's very important to be able to do tons of different fronts, out of a few different personnel groupings to keep teams preparing for all of it. Coverage consistency. I do not like to run a ton of different coverages. Why? Because to me, that's what gets confusing. I'd rather have multiple people knowing what your base coverages are so you can have different people doing different jobs than having a ton of different coverages from week to week. There's too much learning. There's too many formations and motions you have to deal with in the CFL that you need to keep your coverages consistent and rep them against the different looks. Again, it all comes back to do not give up big plays. Confuse them with the fronts and the personnels groupings, but keep the coverages consistent. All right, so that's my philosophy and scheme, and I will never change that. All right, first down. What do we have to stop on first down? Okay. Run game. Number one. You cannot win the game if you're letting up 5, 6 yards, 7 yards of carry. You need to stop the run. To me, it's 4 yards or less. If you end the season in the statistical category of average yards per carry and it's 4 or less, you're probably going to lead the league. Okay. It's a pretty good number. I like 2nd and 6 plus. You do not want to play the game in 5 or less all the time on second down. Okay. Second thing is outside screens. If teams aren't able to run the ball, normally they'll just start throwing screens, stretching out, RPOs, all that stuff. Okay. Sally game, which I'll include in my play action boot game. Quick game. Okay. Very limited intermediate to long pass game in the CFL and the Canadian game. Okay. Do your studies. There's very limited intermediate to long pass game on first down. Most teams don't want to do it. You might get attacked with some shot plays, but most teams do those in specific field zones, so you have to be prepared for those also, okay? But the keys here is stop the run game, stop the outside screens, stop the RPO, play action boot stuff, and stop quick game, all right? So I'm going to give you some different examples of stuff I like for some of this stuff, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on all the assignments of each player, but I'm going to show you what we do, what I like to do to stop some of this stuff. Okay, so all you CFL coaches out there watching, don't pay too much attention here. All right, so first thing we talk about here is our man coverage concept. 4-man rush, man coverage, okay? Outside leverage. The reason I love outside leverage to stop run game is players, your DBs, your secondary that have to replace D-gaps, crack, replace, do all that. They have eyes to the box at all times. If a player comes tight, they are outside arm free. If he subs across the formation, we rock and roll. We are still outside arm free when we need to come down, okay? We have our eyes at the box at all times for play action, for Sally. We can trigger faster. I love outside leverage in first down run situations. That is how we play man. This is a great example of a rock and roll. Okay, we got outside leverage. We got a rock and roll from our free safety. Our Sam shoots high, and now he's outside arm free on the running back that cuts back behind the subber and does not keep it front side. And we have a very successful play here. 2-yard gain. I'll take it. Here's a view from the tight. Free safety number 16 subs down. Good outside position. This team likes to bend their zone run game back behind the subbers, and it's predetermined cutback, in my opinion. And that's why my will linebacker is overplaying that cutback right now. All right, so that was a man concept. Okay, so now let's talk some other varieties. So I like man on first down. Just 4-man rush, man free, with a rock and roll concept, outside leverage. You can see the box. I also like multiple zones on first down. This is a 3 shell, okay, where I'll take a look at it here. I have it drawn for you in a second here. Okay, so this is the concept, all right? It's a zone concept, which is essentially a 3-week cut concept. Okay, we have multiple players, eyes to the box for the run fits. Now, they motion to 4-by-1. And they're bringing 2 players back into the boundary, whereas in this zone concept, I'm not as strong there. What we do in this concept is we will track our Sam over with the sub or the fling motion, and we will now trigger with our corner, who's a cut corner, who should have triggered faster with 2 players tight to the box. But this is the zone concept to stop the run. Whereas if the run happens the way it does right here, we should be in great shape because 31 should have seen 2 players tight to the box and triggered. 0 does a pretty good job of not making it a big play, but we are a gap short the way this plays out. The other way that this could happen is there could be a check here where the high player into the boundary could now become the low player, and it could turn into a double hold cover 3 concept if you wanted to play it that but I still like the multiple low players that we have here. When you take a look again at that drawing, I still like the amount of low players we have to play these tight motions to the box when the extra gaps are created. You can see there the extra gap that's created. You see the Sam number 0 tracking over with the sub motion here. We do spill or box with our defensive ends, depends on the week. That's a decent rep. The main thing here is 28, our boundary half and our boundary corner did not communicate who was going to be that extra outside defender here. All right, now let's talk about taking away some quick game. All right, we got another zone concept here. Our 2 shell. I do not love cover 2 on a big field, but again, we go back to stop what teams do. I don't love it against intermediate or long concepts, but I do love it against quick game. We have rules that'll change our responsibilities if we get deeper routes, but just for now, let's talk quick game. Now, normally, in our mug structured fronts, we play a lot of man. So in this situation, we mugged our Mike, but we didn't play man. We gave the man look like man free, and we played the cover 2 shell with 6 low players. It's allowed us on first down to drop our Mike from the mugged front, show the man, 6 low droppers. It's very good against quick game. What do? Find that for you. What do? Throw quick game. We get a pick. Great play by the Sam. But if you take a look back to the drawing here, look at how many low players we have. Try and throw quick game against this coverage. Good luck. All right. Now let's talk about some pressures on first down that I'll take away what teams do on first down. All right. All right. So we talked about our man free. Okay. So now I'm changing who's doing what. All right. I'm changing my free safety is now going to be my will linebacker, and I'm going to send pressure with my Sam. Okay. I do not like to rock and roll with my will linebackers when they are the deep middle players. I will just then track with the DBs. Okay, so you'll see that happen here, but the will is the high player. I'm sending my Sam linebacker, and we're all gapped out. It's a 6-man pressure. The Mike will have the tailback, but he can be aggressive through that B to the tailback. Now they try and take a shot here off of play action. Normally, we are rock and rolling, so this would be a great concept, offensive concept, to beat our rock and roll with the 2 subbers. But called the play at the right time in this situation where we were not rock and rolling with our will linebacker high. We got some good pressure, and we knocked the ball out. Pretty good situation there. So mixing in some of these pressures on first down is a big deal too. You do not want to be static. 4-man rush all game. Okay, you have to create problems for the offense. All right. It's one example of a first down pressure out of a man concept, just having different people do different jobs, tweaking it a little bit. All right. Here's another one. We talked about our 3 shell earlier. Okay. Now we're going to show another 3 shell. Again, I want to say something before I keep going with this clip. The CFL is a copycat league, and I learned that at a young age, and I continue to do it. I did not come up with this concept. Another very good defense coordinator that is no longer in our league did, and I know when I was on offense, it gave us a lot of trouble. So I copied it. I use it, tweaked it a little bit, but I love it. So that's why I run it. But I do give credit when credit's due. And Chris Jones was the first one I saw run this stuff. One of the guys that I was able to learn from. But when I was on offense, it was a tough concept for us. So I figured, why not? Put it in. So if you take a look here, we got a boundary half, boundary corner pressure. We're pushing our will to be the low curl flat player to the boundary. We got our free safety rolling weak to be the deep third there. We got our Sam shooting high to be deep middle player. We got our field corner shooting high to be our deep third player to the field. We're dropping our rush end out to the field here to be a hook curl player. We got our Mike over the ball, and we got our field half and a curl flat to the field, okay? So you take a look, it is still sound. It is not great against the pass game because teams can protect it, and there is players in different places that do not do those jobs as good as others. But against run and play action, you got a low player to the run gaps, you got a high player to the mesh, to quarterback, okay, and then you got two off the line linebackers. Now in this play, the rush end did not drop, which he should have, but if he did, and he did his job with a fold back to become a linebacker, if you look at it from the tight, he would have then made this tackle for less gain. For less of a gain, sorry. All right, that was one example, okay? Now, totally different front, still first down. Gave you some pressures, okay? Gave you some base 4 down structure, even front, with some man, with some 3-week cloud, with some cover 2 shell. Now I'm coming out with a different concept out of a 3-4 front. Another 2 shell with a robber, but it's 3-4. Different in the run game. Teams have to block their zone different, okay? All the stuff changes. All the rules change, but it's same rule coverage for us. It's not too difficult for these players to learn it. Now, take a look at the tight angle. How do we fit the 3-4? I give my guys a lot of freedom. Okay, let's take a look. Right now, we got C-gap players. We got a nose picking whichever gap he wants. If he stays front side, if he stays back side, these two will play off. They are both 2-gapping. Okay, they are both 2-gapping. Now, he is a D-gap defender, and he is a D-gap defender. But if run is away, I give them freedom to fold back in. Take a look. I will give them the freedom, like 48 does right here, to just make the plays as off-the-line linebackers. You take a look at 97, he backdoors it. That now gives 41 that front side B. That gives 36 that A, and 40 can help fold back in. And it ends up working out very nicely there. It is not sound completely. So all O-line coaches and anyone else watching this presentation can ask, well, that's not right. There's going to be gaps open. Yeah, well, it doesn't work out that way all the time. We always have success in this front. Okay, let's take a look at the pressure. It's another 3-4 structure. Okay, but now I'm sending heat off it. Sending 5. I'm slanting the line. Completely different than the last one. There's the run fits. Okay. 2 off the edge. Now, this one's a lot better if the back's aligned to the pressure call, but the way teams are moving their back so much nowadays, I don't love calling things off the side of the back. So I'll just pick and choose, and I'll be guessing based on tendencies of where the back's aligned on different D&Ds. So run to it isn't as good as run away. Couldn't find a great example of a run away, but get the example here. So right here, we got 2 off that edge. The 1 off the linebacker that's not coming is going to slide and make that 91 right. And then 45 should be folding back in, filling, just like where he ends up. He just ends up there a little bit late. All right. That's first down, okay? So you had a bunch of different things that you could draw up. If you need any of these notes, just hit me up and let me know when you have questions. Any CIS coaches, any high school coaches, email me or call me, and I'll help you through. All right? Any CFL guys, you can watch this 10 times, and I'm going to change all the stuff that we do and adjust it accordingly to beat you. All right, so second and medium. Let's talk about quick game. Second and medium is a down in the CFL that is, to me, 80%, 90% pass. Some play action, what we'd call Sally, RPO, whatever. But majority of the second and medium offensive coaches like to throw the football because they're scared to run the ball. Okay? You got to expect some empty formation. There is some intermediate concepts, but it's high percentage pass, very low run. Okay? All right. I love five-man pressure man. I like the way my players play man. I like them being able to see the quarterback. The key in a lot of our man with that outside leverage tilt is see the quarterback. See is drop. Okay, is it quick game? Do we need to break on the ball now? I like sending five, and I'll show you some different five-man pressures here. Okay, must know the D&D. We must know if it's 6. We must know if it's 4. Okay, anticipate the quick game. You'll hear me say that a lot to the DBs. Okay, see the quarterback, anticipate the quick game. Take a look here. It's a pretty good rep. Okay, we take a penalty here. He's got his arm around him, not good. But I'm looking at the boundary half and the boundary corner. They're anticipating that quick game. That's good footwork. They're not too soft. 16 gets the flag here, but it's a decent job. Let's take a look at the tight. Look at the pressure that we sent. All right, take a look. 5-man pressure, nice little 3-man game with a mugged linebacker. Okay, we got the 2 penetrators, 91 and 95, and we got 36 as the wrapper. Okay, speed to power away. If you're running games to one side, especially 3-man games, you want to have speed to power away. Okay, now the different ways to penetrators, as the players that are going first, I mean, you could do it more power, you could do it more with picks. We try to change that up from week to week. All right. We also do some pull stuff where you pull that O lineman into the gap you want him to go to. Now this one's great because of how 95, they screw it up, and he is the free player, which is awesome. They try and follow here, and it screws them up. A lot more teams just pass this stuff off. But I like out here 41, speed to power. It's a good rep. We get a hit on the quarterback. It's always the key. Get a hit on the quarterback. Do not take penalties. Another example from a different front structure, 5-man pressure man down in the red zone. Okay, just a different front, different look. Now my outside player, 41, is the wrapper. Take a look, though. Another pretty good rep. Another hit on the quarterback. Take a look here. We got 2 4 eyes. Okay, simple game here, speed to power. If you look, though, to the field here, we did not get the speed to power, and I do not like that. Need to buy in and play within the scheme of the defense to have success. Do not be selfish. Everybody eats. Those are the type of terms I like to use when coaching up these pass rush games and making sure everyone's on the same page. Okay, so that same front with the 2 4 eyes, we sent 5. We ran a little game. Now this next time, same type of D&D, second and medium. Okay, same front structure. Now these 2 players that are off the ball, my Q and my Will, are now buzz players. Okay, so what all their job is to be in the quarterback's window for quick game. That's it. They are not rushing. It's three-man rush. It's man everywhere else, and we got two low players buzzing their feet trying to get in the quick game windows. Three-man rush, if they got quick game called, not normally going to get home anyways with a 4 or 5-man pressure, so I don't mind this and mixing these things in every once in a while. I'm still going to sack up. Give Wiggle some love here. Three-man rush. Big snacks. Now here's some more of the two shell that I liked on first down with all the low players. If teams are running a ton of quick game, I'd still love this coverage for second and medium also. 4-man rush, two shell, play and do. Stop what teams do. They don't throw a ton of intermediate to long concepts on first down, run it. Now this was a longer concept to beat this coverage, but the way we play our corners, it'd be very tough to beat us in this coverage with a route like that. Some more second and medium. Another example. Gave you the circle, it doubled it. I'm not sure why, but this is a front, mixing up some different fronts. Again, I'm playing pass. It's second and medium, but this team had a high tendency to throw the football in second and medium, so I'm not playing them for the run. Go ahead, run the ball. Okay, two defensive ends outside, nose tackle over there. Something for them to look at, all right? A different front, something that's way different that's going to put my pass rushers in space. Take a look. Now I got my best pass rusher, the one-on-one on a guard, and I got my nose, powerful guy on their light tackle. Create one-on-ones in your pass rush, you will win a lot of games. More second and medium stuff here. I also really like two-man on second and medium. Why? Because you can let your DBs be aggressive, get down there and press, play the low hip, play the inside leverage and be real aggressive. Jam the shit out of the receivers because you got help over the top. Ball's normally going to come out quick. There's going to be a hell of a lot more quick game, and it allows them to be aggressive, okay? Now, I do also like mixing in sometimes dig robbers and stuff into two-man concepts with three-man rush, just because I do feel that hard inside leverage is beaten at times. But this is a pretty good rep here. It is great against quick game. Second and 6, we are off the field. All right, second and long. Intermediate to long pass game. What do you need to focus on? Screens and draws, especially extra long D&D, second and 11 plus. High tendency through the years, every year, screens and draws, okay, safe plays. Be protection and put pressure on quarterbacks. That's the name of the game, all right? There's 6 quarterbacks down here. They'll be playing this coming season. I'm excited to design some stuff for. All right, here we go. 5-man pressure zone. Vacating the over the ball in a 3 double cut concept. Send 5. Create your one-on-ones. In this concept, because you do not have an over the ball player, there's a lot more space between the hashes. You can have your corners that are cut and carry be a little more aggressive. All depends on what you're trying to get accomplished. If you just want to rush 4 and you got 4 that can go all the time, just do it that way. Sometimes I feel you need to send 5. Quite a few one-on-ones here. Another different front. That was a 3 double cloud concept. I like that on 2nd and long. Okay. This is a 3 strong cloud look. Main one for this clip was the front, same as that one earlier, nose out here to the boundary, 2 ends to the field. The more variations of front, the more stuff you put together, especially on 2nd and long, to make the offensive line coaches work and talk it out, the better. Right now we have one of our best pass rushers one-on-one with the tailback. That's winning. Another point, you must, on 2nd and long, in my opinion, you must be able to run all-out pressure. You must keep the offense honest, and they must know that that might happen in 2nd and long. I know it's risky, but it messes up the timing. Now, we were not great at 7-man pressures in 2019, but we will be better. Okay, got him. It's hard inside leverage, 9 to 10 yards off. Okay, the key points up front are tight angles at the quarterback, straight lines, no pass rush moves. Everyone's going, okay? Everyone's straight lines at the quarterback. We have to get home now, okay? If you look at this as too wide, we are not home in time. That ball should not get off. The free player is this most outside player, but he's 2 yards too wide. It's not good enough. Still an incompletion, but you must have tighter angles at the quarterback when designing 7-man pressure. The other thing to me that is tough with 7-man pressures that needs to be walked through quite frequently is the different formations. You must, the way I like to do it is you keep your blitzers on with the called pressure that they'd learned and let all the other DBs work around the pressure. Do not change who the blitzer is to screw with the timing, but teach them all the different formational adjustments, whether it be 23, 32, 4x1. Make the front know that they have to peel on the back and stop on the back if he blocks them. Those are all rules to help create successful 7-man pressure. A lot of quarter shells I like on 2nd and long too. Changing people's jobs, still common. Not everyone's doing the same stuff, and I know a lot of you coaches that have coached against us know that, but I like quarter shells on 2nd and long. Okay, 4 deep, 4 under. Get off the field. 4-man pass rush. 4 deep, 4 under, 4-man pass rush. But the emphasis on the pass rush. Take a look at the overload front. Create the one-on-one for one of your best pass rushers. Okay. Be creative with it. There's a 3-man game. And right here, I got to give a lot of credit to my D-line coach. Does a great job preparing, does a great job. I like one more thing, speaking about successful defenses, let your coaches coach. Give them some ownership. Let your coaches come with some ideas and use them. Don't just make your coaches GAs because you're the smartest man in the room. That's not the case. Work as a cohesive unit to get better. Everyone will learn things from everyone else in the room as coaches. Do not be selfish and give credit when credit is due. I did not design this one, Corey Mace did. Okay? I did not design this one, Corey Mace did, and it got us a sack. Okay? Okay, now here's some different personnel groupings, similar thought process. Okay, but now we got an extra DB on the field. Okay, playing some Miami. Okay, I say Miami, 2-man. Okay, my bad. Now I got a dig robber. Okay, I got a player locked on the back, take away checkdowns. We're being aggressive, inside leverage. We got 2 over the top players. We got good speed to power on the pass rush. 2 edges. I like this. I like this successful play. It's another way to set it up.
Someone's at front door.
Someone at my front door. Sorry about that. Another good example of a second and long thought. There's another one out of that same personnel. Different players coming, but now we're playing another different quarters variation. 4-man rush, 4 low players, 4 high players. A different option. It's a tough one versus this concept of low flat area off a dig. It's just what it is. And here's another version, same personnel, different players coming, different players doing different jobs, 4 under, 4 deep. Beat the protection, run a little game. Frazier Sopik with the sack. Nice little text game there. Ricochets back to the quarterback, finishes. Good football right there. And then the one thing I want to finish on, be creative. Just try shit. Have fun with it. You only live once. Mix up your games. Mix up your pass rush. Change it up. Get after the quarterbacks. Be creative. Move players around pre-snap. Okay? Take a look at this. Delay the linebackers. Send it. Beat the protection. Do whatever you need to do it. Make it happen. Players will have a lot more fun playing in this type of scheme. Don't be static. Do not be static. All right, well, that's all I have for tonight. I really appreciate everyone having me on here. Again, if anyone wants to hit me up, my email is bmonson, MONSON, @stampeders.com.